Right, we are finally back after a somewhat long hiatus. Um, I wanted to briefly cover that for just a minute or two. Took some time off, clearly, for about a month or so. My main reason, though, I just wanted to completely get off social media, which I've been off, like I said, I think a little over a month now, and it's been fantastic. I don't know why I don't know why everybody else doesn't do this. I don't get it. It's been amazing. I just didn't like really seeing people's posts and stories that I frankly just didn't really care about. And the constant compulsion too of wanting to go on these apps all the time. I'd have so many times where I'd go on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, then exit it out, close it out, and then immediately go back onto it like I just never went on it. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like I would just catch myself like, what just happened? Um, it was terrible. I didn't like it. It was making me feel uncomfortable. I just had this sick feeling every time I'd go on there. I'd waste time on there. I didn't like it. But so I went off, stopped the pod. It was also a bit overwhelming just given everything else that was going on in my life. I feel like we've gotten to a better place a bit, and now I have some new software here that will probably take a lot of the stress off, so I won't feel as overwhelmed, and that'll help a lot. But I missed the pod too much. I love doing this, even if I'm talking to two people right now. I still like doing it. I still like preparing for it. Um, it's the best. So the pod is going to be regular now every week. 5 a.m. Monday, 5 a.m. And yeah, but it's going to look a little different. So we're not just going to be talking about basketball and primarily, I mean, we're still going to talk about basketball, primarily sports, but I want to make my way back to politics, some current events, especially with the 2024 presidential election coming up. I think that would be fun. To maybe once a week. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Talk a bit about that. I also want to maybe talk more about some cinema and pop culture stuff. I've kind of recently gotten into some of that. Um, and we're just gonna go with it. I also want to start having some interviewees on as well. I don't know who, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. It's gonna be a little random. Fuck just finding the niche and going balls to the wall. I wanted to do whatever. I want to talk about things I'm interested in and have more fun with it. Like similar to like a Rogan where it's not just one topic, niche, whatever. He just talks to a bunch of different people. I like that. It's more fun for me, and I think it would be fun for other people. So that's just what's going to happen. So expect to see my notifications Monday, 5 a.m. Let's get into the episode. All right. So first here, I want to get into the NBA All-Star Week in a bit. So obviously today I'm recording on Sunday the 18th. All-Star game didn't happen yet. Boo-hoo. We all don't care. Last night was really the day that I think is the most fun. So I wanted to talk about it a bit. I didn't watch the Rising Stars Challenge at all. That's another one that's just like, whatever. I don't feel like it got a little chippy between Benedict Mathurin and Jaden Ivey. So it could have been a little more intense than I thought, but it's like I think it was like first game or first to 40 or something like it, and it's similar I think to the East West All Star game where just nobody really cares as much. But so far this NBA All Star weekend seems like Adam Silver kind of went all out in terms of bells and whistles and stuff like that. LED Court, the new Sabrina versus Corey Curry matchup, excuse me. Then switching the All-Star game back to East and West. So it was very hyped up, and it was somewhat fun to watch. I didn't, like I said, I didn't catch any of the Rising Stars or Celeb Games. Celeb Games a joke. You just had the Don, Micah Parsons, just drop 37 and kill everybody, win an MVP. Puka was pretty good too. It was kind of fun to see some more NFL stars go in there. Some of the highlights was fun. But you also have people that have never touched a basketball in their life You got Kai, who's like 5'6", who makes an appearance. We're going to talk about in a second. 3-point contest was actually fun. First one I've watched in forever. Dame stole it on the last shot, which was pretty entertaining. But I was actually surprised by Brunson, even though he got nowhere. I didn't think he could actually consistently shoot it from deep like that, even though he's shooting 41% from the three. And then the same sort of thing with Cat. Obviously, Cat won one before, but you just never think of it. And he's shooting 43% from three right now. And I think it's just more of he just got such an awkward jump, right? It makes your skin crawl when you watch it. You don't expect the ball to go anywhere near the rim, but it does. And he almost won that. Next was the Curry versus Sabrina. This was very quick and short-lived, obviously. I thought they were actually going to kind of drag it out a bit, but it was just the one comp. There were no rounds, no nothing. I thought they were going to figure out some way to kind of drag it along. It was fun, though. You thought it was going to be an absolute snorefest, but holy shit can Sabrina shoot. She literally would have made it to the three-point contest finals, and she might have won. Who knows? Like, Dame barely won that. The perfect number was 26 tonight, or last night. Everybody, some reason, was hitting 26. It was weird. And she hit 26, so I was surprised. And Curry obviously answered with 29, and greatest shooter of all time. Way too close to comfort, though. There was a point there when he was on the third or second last rack where you're like, holy shit, she actually might beat him. And he kind of just went in and did his thing like Curry does. I really like the creativity with this, though. I thought it was pretty smart for the NBA to do it since it brings in another audience to tune in, even though the WNBA audience isn't that big. But still, I thought it was great. They were doing it for foundations and stuff, so it meant well. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and I'm sure they're going to do some version of this every other year now. Next, we had the dunk contest, and this shit was an absolute fucking joke. Major disrespect from the judges to Mac McClung and Obi Toppin's brother. These guys were miles above Jaylen Brown and Jaime, and it wasn't even close. But every guy pretty much scored the same within a point or two, which I thought was ridiculous. Nobody scores under 48 anymore. It's fucking stupid. And Obi Toppin's brother had arguably both of his dunks were 10 times better than Jaylen Brown's or Jaime's, and he didn't even make it. Jaylen Brown made it over Obi Toppin. And I seriously thought they were just going to make Jaylen Brown win this, and I was like, wow, is this a fucking popularity contest? Like, I don't get this. But Mac McClung ended up pulling it out. It was ridiculous, though. He should have been disqualified after his second dunk. He jumped over a 5'6" Kai, who was sitting down. So he's like 3 feet. He jumped over a 3-foot person and dunked it, and then did the classic like dab, sneezing into arm motion on the way down. And prior to the dunk contest, he was saying that he thought he's one of the best dunkers in the league. He said, if I don't quote me on this, I'm going to butcher it. Paraphrasing, he said, if you're going to evaluate guys who to meet down the lane or something, who's going to like posterize somebody, I'm at top of the list. And I'm like, are you fucking out of your mind? Like, I can't even think of one like real poster that you've had. And you probably have had one. But the fact that I can't even think of it, you're probably not that prolific. I can think of all Anthony Edwards dunks, okay? And you've been in the league like double the amount of time he has. So, I don't know. I was like, okay, hold your horses, dude. And he was doing all this showman shit with awful dunks. And his third and fourth were even worse. This dude did a simple 180 windmill dedicated to the late, great Terrence Clark. TC would have laughed at your ass, dude. Just cut it out. Cut it out. Who you fooling? Just like stop. It was stupid. And it was somehow 0.2 less than Mac's third dunk, which easily could have been a 50. Easily. And Mac's first dunk should have been a 50. I don't know how, and he got scored below Jaylen Brown's. Even the announcers or the commentators were like, "What is going on?" This dude jumped over somebody, took the ball out from like below his legs, then dropped it, caught it, and then dunked it. It was insane. That was his first dunk. And then the fourth Jaylen Brown dunk was a complete ripoff of the dunk Mac literally just did. Mac jumped over two people and did a windmill. And it was legit like, it was seriously like 7 feet, probably. It was ridiculously high, and he did a for real windmill, jumping over them. Picked it up they were holding the ball, picked it up and did a windmill. His head was at the rim. So Jaylen decides to do the same thing, only jumping over one person and dunking with his left hand, which had a Michael Jackson glove on. And it was legit half the height that Mac just did. And he didn't do a windmill, he just dunked it. It was the dumbest, most crazy shit I've ever seen, and it honestly seemed he was just being so cocky with it. Like it was like a humble brag. When I was like, what the fuck? You shouldn't even be in this competition from the jump. This was just stupid. What a joke. What a fucking joke these judges were. Only guy I even knew on there was like Dominique, and there was one other person, or Gary Payton. Gary Payton, Dominique. Everybody else was a fucking, I didn't even fucking know who you are. It was so stupid. Same outcome, of course, that they got right, but the scoring throughout the entire contest was abomination to the dunk contest. This group should never be able to judge again. Ever. God, rant over. All right, so we're going to get into some UFC, but let's take a break real quick. All right, we're going to talk all things UFC. We had a fantastic UFC 298 card last night. Finally stayed awake from this one. I think there was 2 in a row there that I just fell asleep. Just boring. But this one, the UFC 298 main card, was fantastic. Merab versus Cejudo. Best way to describe this fight was just pure electric. These two went right at it from the jump, just immediately, to the point that Cejudo was exhausted in the second round. And it was weird because, I mean, it was slow punches, open mouth breathing, taking his time on the ground. There were so many times that Merab just got him on the ground. He's just sitting there. Sometimes it was definitely strategic. There was one with a guillotine where he's just waiting to get to his leg. Because there was looked like a tight grip, but he just would not give up, and he was trying to wait to be able to grab a leg and explode out of it. So there were times like that, but there was a lot of times he was just huffing and puffing, just like leaning against the cage, half partially on the ground. It was weird. It was just like odd, especially somebody like that who's a gold medalist in wrestling. He's got a gold medal for wrestling. It was super odd, and Merab was just manhandling this dude, taking him down whenever he wanted, doing almost whatever he wanted with him. Emphasize almost because of that guillotine at the end of the second round, which I thought he was going to tap. I really thought he was going to tap. Same sort of deal with the third round. He just an absolute dominant win by Merab. Fantastic show. It was amazing. It was super demoralizing and discouraging for Cejudo for sure. I mean, he just completely beat him at his own game. It was weird without getting tired in the slightest, like the slightest. No huffing and puffing, absolute pressure all the time. Cejudo said previously before this fight that he was going to retire if he lost. Now, he hasn't announced anything yet by the time I'm recording this, but I don't know, man. We'll see about that. His legacy is definitely cemented. I don't think he should retire. He's still good to go. I mean, I believe he's 37, so he's getting up there, but I would not want to I would not want to walk out of the ring after a fight like that or a loss like that. We'll see. Ian Gary and Geoff Neal. I hope I pronounced that right. Geoff Neal, I forget. A little more of a boring fight. It was kind of just action clinch. That was kind of the name of the game. I was excited for the Ian Gary fight. This was kind of like the one I was really hyped up for. The Merab one too. This is the one I was really looking forward to though. I like Ian Gary. That obviously. Excuse me, I keep yawning. He was in the mix a bunch these past couple of months with the Sean Strickland stuff. Really anybody who would comment on his situation, he was freaking out. So I was disappointed. He got the win. He remains undefeated. It was very close throughout, nonetheless. I just wasn't in the minority of all the booing. It made sense. It was one of those everybody was hyped up for. He's talking a lot of shit, and it didn't go anywhere. And he was just like, honestly, he was just too buddy with him. I didn't like that at all. It's one thing if you're boys, whatever, you have mutual respect to people. Like Tempora and Volk. Tempora in the weigh-ins in Face Off was saying how much she respected him, things like that. That's fine, right? It's totally fine to have mutual respect, and I actually like that sometimes. But after every time somebody gets a real shot on you and decks you in the face, don't give them don't dap them up or give them props. Oh, like every time Neil hit him, he would high five him, smile, or give him some sort of props. And he even had his corner yelling at him, "Don't dap him up! Don't fucking dap him up!" And for real, like it was just weird. I'm like, why are you doing this so much? It seemed like he was almost like scared of it. And Neil wasn't doing that shit. Neil was actually pissed off when he lost. He kind of threw his arms up and like walked away immediately. Stupid. Really bizarre. And then right after the fight, he called out Kobe, which I think that would be an interesting fight. Since Ian just has a lot more length over him and a new and improved ground game, I think it could be interesting. And Kobe's obviously just a dog. But I thought he prefaced it with saying the guy who has been the guy who's been talking about all week. And I didn't watch any of the real pre-press conferences or anything like that, so I came in a little uninformed, but I just assumed it was going to be Sean. And obviously Sean, if he's going to fight Sean, it's a bit more complicated due to different weight classes, things like that. But I thought that's the one he said he would change weight classes to fight him. So I just thought, it's not like his next fight is going to be a title shot. So that's what I was expecting. I was expecting maybe he was going to figure something out with Sean. And, I mean, that would be a big deal if he beat Sean, who was just a champion, also in a different weight class, depending on who switches the weight class. Beats him, and then maybe beats another guy, and then title shot. Who knows? I thought it was interesting, though, and hopefully a Kobe thing can happen. That would be fun, and that would be huge. That would be a big, big fight. We'll see. We'll see. Rob Whittaker and Paula Costa. That was fantastic fight. Oh my god. He had you sitting on the edge of your seat the entire time. Immediately right from the gun trading head kicks and right hooks. Super entertaining. Costa looked really good after being gone for a while. Super smooth, energetic, very fast, and tough, man. Whittaker was kicking the shit out of this dude's calf, and it looked fucked up. Even Dana White in the press or the post fight conference, even said like one gave him props, then also said his shin and calf looked like almost mangled, and he toughened it out and he kept fighting. It was a fantastic fight. Same thing with Whittaker though. So much props. This dude got a fucking major spinning heel kick right to the face, like right in his orbital bone. And oh my god, it was one of those where literally 30 seconds, that thing is blown up. He had a huge bruise and it was visibly blown up. He's profusely bleeding out of his nose down his face. He looked fucked up. If you're just gonna look at both of them and determine who's the winner, you would have thought Paulo Costa won that fight. But if you watched it, you definitely did not. I had a feeling Whitaker was gonna win that the whole time. It was still kind of close. Both had great shots, but once you got to the second and third round, Whitaker was really. He didn't have as many significant shots. There was like 2 or 3 that you're like, oh shit. But it wasn't like after the spinning heel kick that Costa performed on Whitaker. That one you thought Whitaker was going down. Somehow he did not fall. Like, so much props. Dana White even gave him props after that. Joe Rogan, everybody. There was nothing that serious that Whitaker performed on Costa, but he did have a lot of significant strikes. Just so many hooks, just nailing him. So that was a fantastic fight that I honestly was not really expecting. So I don't know. Made sense. I think the right guy won. I'm excited to see who these guys face next, for real. Now, our main event, holy fucking shit. Volkanovski and Tempora. Tempora with a massive knockout. Only the second time Volk has ever been knocked out. Second time in a row now, which is weird. I don't know. I don't think anybody was expecting that. It seemed like he came in super confident. I really was not expecting him to lose. Especially, too, that Tempora's got like 10 less fights. And he got literally half the fights that Volk has under his belt. Volk now, I believe, is 27-5, so he's got 31 fights. Going into that fight, though, he had 30 total fights, 26-4. And Tempora, this was his 15th fight, at least in the UFC. So half the fights and fucking manhandled him, man. I mean, I think the consensus was that Volk won that first round, but it was super close. I thought it was going to be a decision. I didn't think anybody was getting knocked out, to be honest. But Tempora, proved me wrong. I'm fucking yawning about this late night last night. For real. The one thing about watching UFC is it ends at like 1:30. And someone with a 6-month-year-old who doesn't really get that much sleep, you're kind of dead the next day. So, still fun to watch. Yeah, but what a wild finish. I think if they rematch, Volk has a real chance, but dude, holy shit, this guy is definitely the future of the featherweight division. Incredible striker, real deal grappler. Dude started grappling when he was 4 years old. This guy was 4 years old. Real deal boxer. He's serious, man. He's serious. And he's skinny. I like when you see Volk next to him, you're like, Volk is gonna manhandle this guy. This guy is fast and he's got power and a real tough ground game. So it's really hard. He's really the real deal. He's got everything, you know. So I could absolutely see him be the future of the featherweight division, 100%. Seems like they're gonna go in Spain. He'll go for his next fight in Spain. Probably I could see Tempora fight in UFC 302. I could see it that quick, but who knows? Because I'm sure he's hungry. But the one thing that he called out McGregor, which I thought was stupid. That was just ridiculous. Nobody thinks that's happening. Dana White even said it's not. There's you're not going to see McGregor cut 40 to 50 pounds to fight your fucking ass, dude. Like, you're new kid on the block ass, dude. You're a bad motherfucker, but you're not that serious yet. Don't fucking hold out for Conor McGregor. He doesn't give a fucking shit about you. You're not that hot yet. So I thought that was stupid and a little immature. One reporter was saying that Tempora was only saying he was gonna fight McGregor, or he just wasn't gonna accept any of the top guys, which was fucking weird. So we'll see. I think Volk, though, should definitely take his time, block out the noise, take some time away. I know he's previously said he doesn't like that. He doesn't like doing that. His mental health actually gets super affected when he's not in camp. But you really should take some time off, man. Take a fucking vacation. block out all this noise. I think the worst thing he could possibly do is irrationally come back too fast and try to redeem himself, so that the narrative that Bulk is old and on the decline now is diminished. But fuck that noise. I don't believe, I really don't think he should rush into anything, another serious fight, until his head is completely right. He's completely healed up. I think that's the way to go. Either way, fantastic performance by Tempura. Good effort by Volk. I don't think he's done yet. I don't think anybody thinks he's done yet, besides just stupid fucking idiots. So, really great fight. Really fantastic card. Cannot wait for UFC 299. But right now, I want to talk about UFC 300 because it was released. Yesterday it was released finally. Finally, around 8 weeks out. Dana released the UFC 300 main event, which is Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill for the light heavyweight, belt. First glance, I personally felt like it was a letdown. I think anybody would. Our wet dreams, we would be thinking McGregor and Chandler, right? You think UFC 300, they've been playing this up for years now. You think it's going to be unreal, right? And the card is fantastic. Like, it's like 6 hours of UFC that you're watching. But for the main event, Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill, it's like, okay. I think Ariel Helwani gave us perfect reason why they're not going to go in that direction of Conor. And it makes sense. So due to McGregor's popularity and showman skills, why waste it on a card that's going to do numbers no matter what, right? So instead of having him on this card that is already going to produce so much, just have him on the next one. So then you have another one that blows up too. And instead of having 3 major cards in a row, you have 4. So it makes sense. And that'll hold them over for half the year. It makes sense. So I get that. I get the business aspect. I mean, it's not like Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill's bad. They're just not as big, obviously, as McGregor. Or there was talk of the Adesanya versus DDP. I didn't love that one either. It'll be fun to watch, but I don't know. I think this should be good, though. It's going to be a great... I mean, obviously, both guys are champions. Jamal Hill was a champion last year. Alex Pereira is the champion. But they both have sort of the same game. So it's going to be really fun. Obviously, Pereira is a major kickboxer, and Jamal Hill is a huge stand-up guy. So it's going to be an entertaining fight. These dudes are just going to be fucking hitting the shit out of each other. There's no going to be fucking boring jiu-jitsu to watch, which I'm not hating on jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu, but sometimes if it's just a jiu-jitsu match, it's a little boring. So I think it'll be entertaining for sure. And I think Pereira's got it in the bag, to be honest. I think Pereira's going to knock the fucking teeth out of this guy. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, even if it is not that great, this card is fully loaded, both men and women. You got Aljamain Sterling fighting featherweight now. You got Oliveira. You got Jiri. You got Gaethje and Holloway. Gaethje and Holloway is going to be a fantastic fight. Bo Nickel, who I'm super excited about. And then you got Holly Holmes. And I forget how you pronounce her name. Zhang, whatever. She's insane. Picking up Francis Ngannou and knocking chicks out. Absolute stacked card. I cannot wait to watch people kill each other for 6 hours. Fantastic. Super excited. That is the end of the pod. I hope you guys enjoyed. A little UFC, a little NBA, a little update. See you in the next one. Peace.